Right, hello year 7s. So the last lesson of the first unit at Red and Green on the water cycle is about an inquiry around the school site for you to understand how the school has shaped and affected the water cycle in Redland area. Okay, so here I am, a geographer in the world, and my aim is to show you around the school site to highlight how different parts of the school have affected the water cycle, and then you'll have to do it on a day where hopefully it's not chucking you down, and be able to see how and in what way it might have changed. So start with the bottom in some way, but thinking about the top. I'm down here below the vistas above me, and above the vistas is the roof of the school. And the roof of the school is actually a green roof, so it's got soil and plants and vegetation. And the idea of that is for the soil and the plants and vegetation to absorb water when it falls on the roof of the school to reduce the amount of water that reaches the floor. Now, it doesn't always work. I'm going to show you a really good example of it. This is an example of when there's too much water, the ground up on the roof cannot absorb the whole thing. Okay, it can't absorb anything else until the ground is completely saturated, and so what's left of the water has to run on the surface of the ground as surface runoff because infiltration is impossible, and therefore it increases the chance of flood. Flood being this lovely waterfall. Okay, if there wasn't a green roof on the school, roof of the school, this waterfall would be next level in terms of power. Okay, it's rained so much in the last few days, water's gushing out of everywhere. I'll show you literally next to me here. I don't know if you can see there you go. Water is spewing out of the pipes. There's too much water on the ground. Not all the water can be absorbed. When it can't, it's forced to run on the surface, therefore increasing the risk of flood down the hill, which is why I am in essence compared to the rest of the school. Okay. Another few facts you have around the school. So if we move away from that waterfall here, what do we have? There you go. You've got this little river or lake. You can see the pipe over there. This lake and river, with a little bridge that was built, was actually built by the school in order to guarantee the residents of Kirstenman Road that their homes would not flood as a result of us building the school itself. Okay, because by building the school and adding tarmac everywhere, we'd increase the risk of flood around in the back garden, and therefore increase the risk of flood in the cellars. And in building the river, we've been able to ensure that the water itself would run away from the house rather than into the house, and that was one of the conditions on the building of the school. So there's a tactical reason why we've got this river, but when it rains, it needs a ridiculous amount of water. I am at the back of the G block. The G block itself, the whole area here is basically floodable land. It's at the bottom of the school. When I walk on here, you can actually hear it squish under my shoes. The ground is completely waterlogged or saturated. Because it's saturated, it means water cannot infiltrate. It's like a sponge full of water. The ground just simply cannot take more water. And so the water has to run off and surface runoff. So basically, the more intense the storm is, the higher the chance of a flash flood, because all the water can't be absorbed in one go by the ground. And that's exactly why we have the development of this stream over here. You can see here it's massive, and the only reason there's so much water on grass is because that grass just cannot drink more. And because it can't drink more, it has to let everything flood and let everything evacuate. So this river here swells when it rains and shrinks when it dries, but it's a really good example of surface runoff. And the reason the ground is saturated, and the reason there's so much water kind of hurling down the hill towards the back of the G block, is because urbanisation increases the amount of water on the surface of our planet. And the reason for that is it's actually stopped raining, so I'm going to show you exactly. This, behind me, the playground behind the G block. You like it, you spend ages on it, you can get food on it, you can play basketball on it, and everything. But it's obviously not natural, okay? We tarmac this, we put concrete over this ground. This ground would have been green space. Green spaces absorb water, but this is what we consider to or call impermeable rock. It's not even rock, it's impermeable surface that is man-made. As a result, water cannot infiltrate into the ground. It can't be stored in the soil moisture storage. It has no other options but to stay on the ground. You can see it there. We've got some sort of puddles. These puddles, they stagnate. So flat land is prone to flooding because water cannot be evacuated. When it does, it can be evacuated down the river we have at the back of the school. And all this water from the tarmacked area behind the canteen and the G block is funneled down the side of the school and around the G block in the river itself. So the river swells massively because the infiltration is possible and surface runoff as a result increases significantly. So yeah, these are 3 sites around the school I want you to see how we have affected the water cycle. I want you to go and do exactly the same in different places and the same places and have a look at how today our water cycle is shaped by our behavior inside our city.